microscopic almost when you zoom out and think about the grand scheme of a full-term baby. Yet despite this incredibly small footprint, there are absolutely mind-blowing things already happening inside the body. The biological gears are turning at breakneck speed.
Okay, let's dive into this because this is honestly one of the most fascinating paradoxes of early pregnancy. Look at the contrast here. On the outside, the mother likely looks completely normal, right? There's no visible baby bump, no outward physical changes that give away the massive construction project happening within. But look at the inside. An entirely new human body plan is actively being built. This isn't just cells dividing anymore, folks. This is the literal architectural foundation for a whole new person being laid down day by day, hour by hour.
Section 1. The Blueberry Illusion.
So, the physical size of the embryo at this stage is wildly deceptive when you compare it to the massive developmental milestones that are actually taking shape. As we said, your baby is roughly equivalent to a blueberry, though, exact size can vary a tiny bit from person to person. But do not let that tiny size fool you. The paradox here is just mind-blowing. Within that space, which is smaller than the tip of your thumb, the embryo is developing so rapidly that the foundational structures for the brain, the spinal cord, the heart, the arms, the legs, and other major organs are already taking shape. Think about that for a second. You're carrying something smaller than a piece of fruit, while the incredibly complex machinery of a human body is actively being assembled.
Section 2. Building the control center.
Let's shift our focus to one of the most critical parts of this whole assembly process. While the mother absolutely cannot feel anything happening physically at this microscopic level just yet, the baby's brain is developing incredibly fast. Right now, the neural tube is a vital structure. It's the very foundation that will develop into the baby's entire brain and spinal cord. And at 7 weeks, it is growing rapidly. In fact, different regions of the developing brain are already beginning to take distinct shape. The baby's nervous system is fully under construction. Basically, out of that tiny little blueberry, your baby has started building the ultimate command and control center.
Section 3. Powering the engine.
But a control center needs power, right? The early heart structure is developing so rapidly right around this specific time that cardiac activity might actually be detectable. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is there's an important nuance to ultrasound expectations here. Yes, cardiac activity might be detected, but if you have a 7-week ultrasound and a heartbeat isn't detected, our sources make one thing abundantly clear. Do not automatically panic. Why? Well, the specific ultrasound equipment being used plays a huge role. But more importantly, natural pregnancy dating discrepancies are incredibly common, especially depending on the exact timing of ovulation.
This sequence lays it out perfectly. It usually goes like this. Step 1. You might be unsure of your exact ovulation date, which is completely normal. Because of that, step 2 happens. A heartbeat is not detected at what you think is exactly 7 weeks, but it doesn't mean something is wrong. It might just mean the embryo is a few days younger than calculated. Therefore, step 3, your healthcare provider recommends a repeat scan in a week or so to see how things are progressing. It is a totally logical, standard medical recommendation based on the simple realities of biological timelines.
Section 4. Drafting the physical form.
Okay, so we've talked about the brain and the hearts, but what about the outside of the embryo? This is the week where the tiny embryo actually begins to take on a form that will eventually look much more human. The architectural blueprint is really, truly coming together. Tiny limb buds, which will eventually become arms and legs, are forming right now. The face is beginning to develop. The very early initial structures that will one day be the baby's eyes and ears, they're taking shape. And crucially, alongside the baby itself, the placenta is also developing right now to support the entire pregnancy. It is just a massive, beautifully synchronized construction effort.
Section 5. The cost of construction.
But all of this rapid biological construction comes at a cost. We're pivoting now from the microscopic world of the embryo to the macroscopic world of the mother, because while the baby is tiny, the physical toll on the mother's body is often enormous. If you're 7 weeks pregnant, you might be looking at this question right now and nodding your head aggressively. So the crucial point is, if you're suddenly exhausted to your bones, if you're super emotional and constantly hungry, if you're running to the bathroom every 5 minutes, or if your absolute favorite meal suddenly smells like it has personally offended you, you are definitely not alone. Your experience is totally valid, and there is a very specific biological reason for it all.
The culprit? Hormonal changes working absolute overtime. During early pregnancy, hormones like human chorionic gonadotropin, which we usually just call HCG, and progesterone rise incredibly rapidly. It's essentially a hormonal hostile takeover, and it's exactly these dramatic spikes that contribute directly to the severe nausea, the bone-deep fatigue, the breast tenderness, and the frequent urination. I absolutely love this quote from our source material because it just perfectly captures the reality of week 7. Your baby may be blueberry-sized, but your hormones are acting like they're running the entire company. It's a hilarious way to look at it, but honestly, it's scientifically accurate. The biological signals required to build that new human body plan are so incredibly strong, they basically hijack the mother's entire system.
Section 6. When to halt production.
Now, it is absolutely vital to know the difference between normal early pregnancy misery and actual warning signs that require a doctor's attention. Because, as our sources note, pregnancy symptoms can vary dramatically. Some people have severe nausea, some have mild symptoms, and some barely feel pregnant at all. And this brilliantly illustrates the line we need to draw. On one side, we have normal early symptoms: fatigue, nausea, frequent urination, and remember, the intensity of these can vary wildly from person to person. A lack of severe symptoms doesn't automatically mean something is wrong, just like severe nausea is usually just those hormones running the company. But look at the other side. Heavy bleeding, severe abdominal or pelvic pain, fainting, or dizziness. These are absolutely not standard operating procedures. If you experience these, or honestly anything that seriously concerns you, you must seek medical care promptly.